Manuel, thank you so much for joining us in studio and for flying to our country to be here. Very, very honored. So tell us exactly about your IPO, the details. How many shares are you flighting on the exchange there, and who will benefit?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for allowing us and giving us this opportunity to talk about the IPO. Basically, the IPO was a decision from HCB shareholders to IPO 7.5% of the company. And the decision was announced by the President of Mozambique in November 2017.
So 7.5%
is the total.
Is the total.
But
and the rest phases, remains with?
The first phase is now the 2.5%.
All right.
Of the 7.5%. And as you well say, this is exclusively for Mozambicans, individuals, companies and institutions.
I understand that there's something quite different about this IPO in the sense that it is exclusively for Mozambicans. Why have you gone down this route?
Well, the main objective of this transaction is to allow the Mozambicans to benefit from the reversion of HCB, from the control of the Portuguese government to the Mozambican government, which happened in 2007. So before that, the Portuguese government used to own the majority of HCB, 82%. Then in 2007, the Mozambican government decided to acquire 85% by getting a loan in the international market. It was $800 million, which we managed to fully repay in June 2016 with 18 months in advance, because the initial amortization plan was to fully repay in December 2017. So this is one objective, because I mean, HCB is the jewel of the crown in Mozambique. We call it the pride of Mozambique. So the intention is to give the Mozambicans the opportunity to own part of the shares and get all the benefits apart from what they've been getting already.
So it's essentially inclusive growth, which I think is something that many African countries, in fact the world, is trying to achieve right now.
Correct, it's financial inclusion of Mozambicans. And this was one of the issues that the President really underlined when he made the announcement of this IPO. Inclusion and reach was the two pillars objective that is stressed.
All right, and when exactly is the listing date?
The listing date, we have started already the campaign on the 20th of this May. So the subscription period will be from 17 June up to 12th of July. So we have almost a month for the subscription period. And
then upon listing, what next?
Well, next is continue with the development of the company. We have plans for CapEx plans. We have to continue renewing all the infrastructure, but also we have plans to expand and diversify the business. Actually, part of the capital raised with this IPO is going to be applied in CapEx plans and also in diversifying and growing the business.
All right. How much are you looking to raise?
We are looking at this stage for the 2.5%. We are expecting to raise around $35 million US.
All right.
For the rest, I can't tell you now, because the market evolves and you never know what will be the price of the shares. Because now for this issuing, the price of the shares is 3 meticais.
Oh, 3 meticais, okay.
Meticais is our local currency. I would say probably in US dollars, around 5 cents US dollars.
And that's expected to give you a market value of how much? Roughly, or upon listing, or maybe that's something that we can, brush over at a later stage. But tell me something. You say that some of these proceeds that you're looking to raise, eventually it is about diversifying the business. You're mainly an energy player right now, so where are you looking to diversify into?
We can expand, or still on the energy sector, on the hydrology, because we are an hydropower company now, 100%. But we are also thinking of diversifying the sources of energy, because you can go to other sources like gas and other sources of energy, so you can at least mitigate some of the risks coming from the hydrologic adversities that you may have. We witnessed one which was in 2016 and 2017, we have severe droughts in the region.
Yeah.
And definitely that was like a wake-up call that we need to diversify the source of generation as well. So
droughts, but also impacted by other very harmful weather effects. I mean, if you look at Cyclone Idai, which also hit the Mozambique economy.
Correct. We had somehow affected by Cyclone Idai. And this is the kind of things that we, as we grow the company, we need to start taking measures to keep the credibility of the company on one side by continuously improving the risk profile of the company. Because a company of the size of HCB, it has to have access in a permanent basis to funding from the capital market, international capital market, apart from the domestic market, which is very incipient so far. So we need to tap in also funding from the international market.
Oh, right. Where would you be looking to go?
Internationally, I mean, we do not choose a specific country, but basically competitiveness is what we try to get when you negotiate funds, basically. I
mean, the Mozambican economy right now has been in South African headlines for some time, and that's as a result of the arrest of the former finance minister, Manuel Chang, all tied to, you know, the scandal surrounding tuna bonds and what that money was actually used for, and a whole lot of malfeasance. How are you guys navigating that political fray whereby you've got a weak economy that even the UK and the US is looking at, because many of those individuals are facing some form of prosecution there, and also an economy that is still hungry for a lot of aid, waiting on the IMF to open its taps?
Well, this issue is being dealt by the relevant institutions within the countries. Is something that I have nothing to add.
Does it not, though, for you, increase the risk of doing business?
What I can tell you is HCB, for the past 12, 13 years, is showing to have a very resilient business model, basically. We have been consistently generating profits, in average $100 million US. We have been paying dividends to our shareholders, in average 25% of our, I'm talking about $25 million every year. We have been generating operating margins of above 45%, which is above the benchmark for similar industries in the world. So it shows that irrespective of any oscillations that the real economy faces, HCB has been recording a consistent growth, which shows the robustness of the business model of this company.
Manuel, tell me about your relationship with Eskom.
As you know, it's a long-standing relationship with Eskom. Is basically from the establishment of the company itself. Back, the first PPA was in 1968. It's a very good relationship. It's our main customer. We have no problem with Eskom. We are actually willing to continue supporting them. All right. It's an excellent relationship.
So you supply them with energy?
We do.
I mean, you talk about an excellent relationship, but I'm sure you're well aware that Eskom is not in an excellent position if you look at its financial troubles. How has that impacted on you?
So far, as I said, I hear that from the press, from the news, but the relationship, direct relationship with Eskom, I have nothing worrying to record. It has been an excellent relationship. But I'm also been hearing the good news that even the South African government is setting plans to basically improve the Eskom situation, which for us is definitely very good. So,
in what sense?
In the sense that if you look at our concentration to Eskom, we basically sell around 80% of our electricity to them. So the better news, the better risk profile for them, it means a better risk profile for us. But as I said, the relationship is excellent with Eskom. Even the payments, they do not have any arrears with us. It's a very comfortable relationship, I must say.
All right. I mean, you've spoken about everything that is good and all the positive tailwinds facing your business and the prospects. But what are your concerns right now, if any?
Well, not major, to be honest, because market for HCB is something that we see a huge opportunities in the country. Mozambique is also expecting some growth prospects. even in the region. So definitely what we have to rush for now is, as I said, create all the basic conditions to improve, to start doing investments, to tap in on those opportunities. That's a must. HCB must start expanding the capacity so we take the chance from the opportunities in the region. And if you see, for example, the exports of HCB in 2018, they represented 7.5% of the total exports of Mozambique, which definitely shows that it's a company that has got a lot of contribution to the real economy. If you look at the payments we do to the budget, to the state budget, for example, to the treasury via the taxes, from the moment we do the reversion, as I mentioned, in 2007, because before that, the company was exempted from paying taxes. From 2007, we became as a normal payer, and up to, we have paid above $650 million US.
Wow, so you're a good
more
payer
than
to the government, you're a good payer to your shareholders, Manuel. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there for now. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll certainly track the progress of HCB as they roll out their various stages of a listing on the Mozambique Stock Exchange. Once again, many thanks to Manuel Gameiro, who's the CFO of HCB.